Here are the results after 24 hours of using my secret fertilizer formula. And today I'm going to show you exactly how to replicate this in your own lawn. Every year I get hundreds of emails asking me what my fertilizer schedule is to keep my grass so dark green and healthy. And today I'm finally going to make a video about it. This is the main formula I use on my lawn every month, and I get insane results from it. Now I'm going to warn you, this process might be a little intimidating if you're new to lawn care. But at the end of this video, I'll show you a much easier way to apply all of these ingredients and get the same results. Let's get into it. Now I like to call this my homebrew or secret sauce because it's years of experimentation of products that I've used on my own lawn to try to get the best results possible. Now, if you've watched my videos in the past, you know I'm all about getting the darkest lawn possible. So my goal with this mixture is to get a very dark response, along with a thick and healthy canopy and some added summertime protection from the heat. Now, the reason I'm showing you the hard way first is because in the long run, it'll be a much cheaper way to put it down per application than doing the easy method. But there are obviously some drawbacks because it is the hard method. Some of those include a more expensive upfront cost, the garage space that it takes up, as well as the pain of mixing together every single application. Now, the second option is my same secret formulation, but in a concentrated form. I was sick of mixing everything together myself, so I worked with a company to get all those ingredients inside of one mixture. The drawback to this is it's going to be a little more expensive per application to put down, but it comes with none of the headaches of mixing your own. So I want to give you guys both options and let you choose what's best for your situation. Now, the way we'll be applying this secret sauce is through a backpack sprayer, spraying the fertilizer mix as a liquid. The reason for this is because it's going to be the easiest way to mix all the ingredients together into one application to apply to our lawn, and it allows us to put it down very evenly. So without further ado, let's get into all the ingredients for this secret formula mix. Number one is going to be water. Number two, and the most important, is nitrogen. Number three is iron. Number four is going to be potassium. Number five, sea kelp. And number six, a product called green envy. Now we're going to mix all of these ingredients up into one tank mix to get a very well-rounded fertilizer. This probably sounds crazy, but again, this is going to get your grass super dark green. I'll get into all the different rates, how to mix this, and how to apply it in a minute. But first, let's talk about how these different ingredients work, where you can get them, and why they're important for this mix. Number one is going to be water. This is going to be our carrier to mix everything into. I like to use very hot water to get these products to dissolve and mix together as well as possible. If you have hard water or a high pH, you're going to want to add citric acid to the water to bring down your pH. The reason we do this is to get the plant to uptake the nutrients much better, but it's absolutely needed to get the best results. So don't skip this if you have a high pH. You can check your pH to see if it's high with the small pH meter that you can get for cheap on Amazon. Number two is going to be nitrogen. For this, I usually use granular urea or ammonium sulfate. The reason I use these fertilizers is because they have a very high concentration of nitrogen in them, which is the most important ingredient for plants to grow and stay green. These fertilizers can be found at your local co-op or feed store for a very good price. Urea usually runs around $40 to $50 for a 50-pound bag, and ammonium sulfate usually runs around $20 to $30. One bag of each of these will last you a very long time for these applications if you have an average size lawn. I usually prefer using ammonium sulfate because it gives you a richer green in my opinion, but urea works just as well. You'll get the best bang for your buck with urea because the nitrogen content is so much higher at a 4600 instead of a 2100. So that's where the give and take comes in between these two. Number three is going to be iron. Iron is going to give you an overnight green up. The best product I found for this is called Feature. It comes in a powder form and you can find it on Amazon for around $30. This product also doesn't stain concrete like other iron products do. Number four is going to be potassium. Now this could be considered optional, but I use it because I come up low on potassium on my soil tests. If you've never done a soil test before, it could be a good thing to add to your mix because most lawns are going to be deficient in potassium. Potassium is going to cost right around $50 or $60 for a 50-pound bag, and you can also find this at a co-op or feed mill. So grab it at the same time as your urea or ammonium sulfate. It's also going to be called sulfate of potash, and it comes in at a 0050. Do not use muriate of potash, which is a 0060. The reason why is because that product is going to have a very high salt index. It's going to be easy to burn your lawn with that, so stick to the 0050. Number 5 is going to be sea kelp. Now, sea kelp is going to help with slight green up and also help you during extreme times of stress on your lawn when it comes to heat. Here's a clip from an older video showing you how sea kelp has helped my lawn. So one of the biggest things that stick out to me with the difference in this kelp, where I put it down and where I didn't, is in this spot right here. In this whole area, my lawn goes dormant first when it gets really hot out. And you can see the line right over here is still green, where I put the kelp down, and over here, it's starting to struggle a bit. So at this view, I think it's a lot easier to see the difference in color. You can definitely tell that this area of the lawn is much darker green than the area in my front lawn. This sea kelp I use costs $40 for 1 gallon, and you can find this on Amazon as well. Number 6 is going to be a product called Green Envy. This product contains humic, fulvic, carbon, and sea kelp as well. So for a grand total with all these ingredients, you're looking at a cost right around $250. But this should definitely last you a while. Next, let's get into how much you should mix into this 5-gallon bucket for 1,000 square feet. So when I mix anything liquid, I like to use 1 gallon of water per 1,000 square feet. So if you have 5,000 square feet to cover, you're going to want to use 5 gallons of water per application. But that's the other problem you run into with this DIY mix. Most backpack sprayers only hold 4 gallons of water, which means you're going to have to mix this secret sauce multiple times to cover your entire lawn, which becomes an absolute headache, but it's definitely doable if you have the patience. So let's get into how much material I use per gallon for 1,000 square feet. First, I like to start by putting hot water into my 5-gallon bucket. Now for Sam, we're gonna cover 3,500 square feet, so we put in 3.5 gallons of hot water. Now for the nitrogen, I usually put down 0.2 pounds of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet. Now this comes out to roughly 0.43 pounds of urea or 1 pound of ammonium sulfate. So because we're covering 3,500 square feet today, we're gonna have to multiply each of those numbers by 3.5. I'm using ammonium sulfate, so I'll be adding 3.5 pounds of ammonium sulfate into my mix. Next, I usually put in my potassium. Now I'm gonna warn you, this material does not dissolve very well, so the hot water is gonna help. But you'll have some chunks left over at the bottom in your 5-gallon bucket. Make sure you have a strainer on your backpack sprayer. Also, I'm gonna warn you that this foams up on you a little bit. But I usually put in 1/2 pound of product per 1,000 square feet. Next, I like to add the iron. This product also doesn't mix that well, but the hot water helps tremendously. I usually add 2 ounces of feature per 1,000 square feet. Sea kelp is the next thing I add, and for this application, I use 2 ounces by volume per 1,000 square feet. And lastly, the Green Envy. I put this down at 4 ounces by volume per 1,000 square feet. Now this should complete your homebrew cocktail fertilizer, and it's ready to spray across your lawn. Now before I get into how to spray it, I want to show you the easy way of putting this down in your lawn. Now this is a concentrated blend of everything that we just talked about mixed together into one bottle, and it's called Neighbor's Envy. This 1 gallon costs $60 and will cover 16,000 square feet after your first application. Now the cost per application will be higher, but I cannot iterate how much easier it is to put this into water, put it in your backpack sprayer, and then just spray and go. Way less cleanup, way less space taken up, and way less time to do everything. Now this has been 100% formulated after the exact same mix that we just put together. And I'll show you the side-by-side results of each mix at the end of this video. Now once everything's dissolved and mixed together, it's time to put it in your backpack sprayer and start spraying your lawn. Now if you're in the market for a backpack sprayer, I would highly recommend this HD 4000 from Petra. It has a variable speed adjustment for output to your walking speed and works very well for me. I'll leave a link for this along with the rest of the products down in the description. Now when spraying this, I like to leave it on the grass blades for 4 hours and then wash it off with irrigation for the best and fastest results. You'll get a visual green up in 24 hours by doing this. But I do need to warn you, if you have a very under-fertilized, unhealthy, or yellow lawn, this product will stain it brown for a couple of weeks if you leave it on the grass blade. I actually applied this to an area of my lawn that was extremely yellow and under fertilized, and it looked terrible for 2 weeks. But my goodness, after the browning wore off, it turned super dark green. So if you have an unhealthy lawn, what I would suggest is spraying it on your lawn and then immediately watering it in until your grass turns green. After that, you can start leaving it on the grass blades for those fast results. So we're gonna set up a couple tests. The first test we're gonna do is gonna be this control area right here. I'm gonna spray over this, and then we're gonna see what the results look like in 24 hours after this is removed, and see what this square looks like compared to the rest of the lawn. So in front of this second plant here, we put down the DIY mix. In front of the third plant, we're not gonna do anything, but in front of this fourth one, we are gonna put down the neighbor's envy, and we'll compare all the test plots. Now here are the results after 24 hours. On the left, you can see our home brew, and on the right is the neighbor's envy. Now this looks like the neighbor envy is a little bit darker than our home brew after 24 hours, but you can see both of them clear as day and how much darker it is compared to the rest of the lawn. Now over on this side, you can see exactly where we set down that box, where it's kind of yellow and like lime green compared to the rest of the lawn that already has that dark emerald green. And this is just after 24 hours, which is completely crazy. Now here, Sam sent me pictures a week later, and look how dark green the lawn is. Now you can especially see it in these test plot lines where you didn't put fertilizer on the rest of this little side strip. The neighbor's envy and the home brew are definitely darker, and the rest of the lawn is popping as well. Now the more you use this product, the darker your lawn's gonna become, and it becomes like exponentially darker. Now also, if you want to see some of the darkest grass seed in the world and how to overseed it into your lawn, you can check out this video right here. I'll see you over there. Now get off Sam's lawn.